Hey, it is Katie with Art by Miss Katie. I am here today to talk to you about coloring books. I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce my newest one, Volume 3, and talk about some history about these. How they got started, why coloring books, how we got here, what's changed. Here to talk about it. So, Volume 1, 3 years ago, I put this one out, and oh boy. So I had originally got this idea back years ago, about 2015. It was at No Mercy 6 in Valdosta, Georgia. There was another photographer there that she put out a coloring book at the drag strips. Her version was a whole lot different. So I really liked her idea, but I wanted to build off of it and make it my own, which is what you should do. You know, that's the right thing to do. So hers, what she had done is she would take the photos that she would shoot and she would like drop the contrast down and post that. She would pull all the color out, bump the contrast up, and that's what she would put out. And people loved them, but they just didn't look, if you were coloring them, they could be kind of visually confusing. I still loved what she did. She was a brilliant artist, but I knew that I wanted to do something similar, but I wanted to do it my own way. So finally, years later, I gained the technology and information and knowledge to put this out. So Volume 1, I wanted to do stuff that I had seen. I didn't want to just pick random stuff off the internet. I wanted to do the people that I knew. I wanted to document, you know, the shows that I traveled to, the people I met, and I wanted it to be a way for me to connect and make it personal. This wasn't some generic coloring book off a shelf. These are people. These are real people, real trucks. You know, it's not a coincidence or random. So the first one, the shop shirt logo, still has Patina Queen on it, so that tells you how old it is. This first version, the first 50 copies are signed. There's a thank you note in the back, and they are numbered. And Volume 1, Edition 1 is wire bound because I'm left-handed. I wanted a lay flat book. So I wanted it bound so I could get the darn thing to lay flat so I could color it. That was really important to me. I hate fighting spines on books. The other thing, I wanted heavy line weights and large areas to color. I like to color coloring books as an adult, but it is so aggravating to color a 2mm spot, switch pencils. Color a little spot, switch pencils. It just, that aggravates the poop out of me. I wanted areas that I could wash and color and shade and blend and things like that. So Volume 1 was a huge thank you to all my friends and people that I knew. A lot of those people, I wouldn't do this if I didn't have their support. And I did a couple of graphics pages. The original Volume 1, Edition 1 has 13 pages. Now, the second edition has 12 pages because if you do sketchy shit to the animals, I reserve the right to pull your page out of the book. If I feel like you have been less than honest, or there's an integrity issue, or you just cut me out of your life, or something along those lines, I reserve the right to pull you out of the book. So, reprint changed the binding because I liked the wire binding, but I had some issues with one of my research copies with it coming apart, and I just don't want to risk the quality issue. If you have ever had an issue with the quality of your first book, let me know. I'll take care of it. But so far, I've not had any complaints, but I wanted to make this switch to prevent it. I think that's really important. And like I said, this one only has 12 pages. And they're still numbered. So No, I changed the binding pretty early on these. Yeah, because we figured out that the wire binding wasn't going to work fairly early on. Okay, but yes. There were changes, upgrades, things like that. So, moving on, the following year, Volume 2 debuted at Terminal Takeover. I was incredibly humbled when I showed up with, I had 40 copies with me, and I sold out in 10 minutes. Now, granted, to be fair, something I do, if I put you in the book, I gift you a copy. If you choose to buy other copies, that's totally fine. But if I put you in here, I gift you a copy. It's just something I want to do. Volume 2, that year I had fallen in love with graphics trucks. I have no explanation for it other than, I don't know, I fell in love with graphic paint jobs. So the cover, I made a front and rear design that covered the whole thing, and it was kind of like my homage to graphics trucks. I have a whole new respect for people that paint graphics. I don't have the patience or the spatial awareness to figure that out, but they're really cool. I got to see this truck in person for the first time at Cruising with Cruisers. My first copy of Mini Truckin' Magazine was the lady special that had this truck on the cover. That was such a cool experience for me. It was life-changing. I loved it. So I put it in here. Just a lot of cool stuff. Robbie, trash bag. Kaylin Stevens, a wonderful young lady, beautiful truck. Her parents are incredible. But that was Volume 2. It was huge. It was a really, really huge step for me as an artist. I learned a whole lot and really, really began to appreciate the process, and a lot of growth happened. So I decided Volume 3, I really needed to step up my game. I did go away from the Spiral Bound cover for the sake of bringing everybody a color cover. I could have done the color cover and kept the binding, but it would have raised the price more. And part of the reason why these got started, I wanted people to have something to do. I wanted something on my table at shows that, okay, you can't afford some crazy expensive piece of artwork I have on my table, but you can pick this up. You know, you've got your kids with you at a show. They're bored out of their mind. This gives them something to do and gives them a way to connect to you as an adult with what you enjoy. It helps them put it in perspective because they're coloring trucks that they can walk out in that parking lot and see. That was a huge, huge thing for me. So I really wanted to keep the price reasonable and keep it still attainable for kids because this hobby adds up. It gets expensive. But brought you a full color cover. Michael Ellenberg shot at Terminal Takeover last year. This was kind of my thank you for Glenn letting me debut last year's book at his show. It was a huge moment, so I picked something that I enjoyed shooting at that show. Full color cover, homage to my pinstriping and things like that, the art. My logo, my new logo. You can find me, Art by Miss Katie, everywhere. And this volume has 20 pages. I added an extra 8 additional illustrations, including graphics pages. You can color in your own graphics and play around with whatever you've got on your mind. There's a ton of shapes in here to play with. So if you have something on your mind that you're thinking about doing in your truck, you can do this here. I love the way this turned out. I am so happy with this. I've got a tilt bed in this one. There's a whole lot of really cool stuff that I feel like I've pulled off in this one. I'm really proud of it, and I just wanted to share it with you all. So, Volume 3 is here. If you see me out this season, ask me if I have some. Thank you.